All right, this is 10/21, 2025. Eh. All right. I just wanted to, because I feel like, I'm actually fortunate to be alive. Because I really, last night, man, I had my chest just seized up. I was feeling actually scary, kind of a lot of pain. Yeah, look, Sally. I just have to show you real quick, Sally's going blind. But, yeah, she's barking, look. Sally, baby. Yeah, no, dog, baby. You're there, dog, baby. Look. Hey, Sally. Look. See Sally's eye? Yeah. You a dog, baby, Sally. I don't know what you're saying. I don't know what dog baby says. I don't know what dog baby says. Hey. Anyway. Boom is blocking the way. Sometimes she has to bark. Look. Hey. Huh? See? Goldie's blocking the way for Sally to get inside. Maybe she wants some water. She can't get through. And Boom is blocking the way for her to get out here. But there is a small passage right there. And I help Sally because, look, I can tell, that she can't really see good. She can't see good no more. And she's got that, wart or something, growing into her eye. And I look close into her eye and it looks like she got, I'm just saying, I don't think she did, but, if she got shot with a BB in the eye, because there seems like to be an indentation. Here goes Sally, look, she made it through. There goes Sally. Look, she made it through. And I'm just saying that, I'm happy that I'm still alive. I think a little bit, thinking last night maybe I was having a heart attack or something, because the amount of seizing up kind of pain that I felt in my whole torso, which was unexplained to me, because I had no explanation to think about it except for the stuff that I know. And look, my grandfather, James Robbins, he walked himself. When he knew that he was having a heart attack, he didn't drive a car or nothing. He just actually walked. He walked himself, and it was about at least a half mile away or 3/4 of a mile away or something, to the hospital. And he had a heart attack. He wanted to see me after he had the heart attack, he could have died. He didn't drive himself, because to drive himself, he might have went unconscious, caused an accident or something, He walked. I don't know where my grandma was, but he walked himself to the hospital in Valparaiso, Indiana. It's monumental for me. My grandparents' house, they got it after he came back from the war. They got a story, man. When my grandfather came home from the war, World War II, he was playing poker, because he liked to play poker, at the pub in Valparaiso, Indiana. And I never even seen him drink a beer. Not my grandfather. My grandfather, James Robbins, I never seen him even drink a beer. I've seen people come over and drink a beer, and he didn't really even talk that much, really, to tell you the truth. He's always really selective on his words, you know. He didn't really even talk that much. But I've seen him play poker, and the only time I heard my grandma ever swear was when she was drinking poker. And I think my grandma was I think she would drink on special occasions, you know. She may have been drinking when I heard her swear. And I heard her say, you say God, D-A-M-N, and then something else after that. Which, I don't really believe it's a cuss word, but some people do. They're allowed to say it on TV, and it's not a cuss word. So, you know, who knows? You can't, that's actually what I want to actually point out, you know, is like, these restrictions and stuff like that, a lot of times it's bullshit. Like, look. But anyway, let me just tell you real quick about my grandparents. My grandma went into that pub in Valparaiso, Indiana, where my grandpa was playing poker. And she was so angry that he was in there playing poker after World War II. When he came home, she took a pool stick, man, and went in there just like Jesus did at the money changers and vendors in the temple, where he got angry because they were using the Lord's house as a place for profit and selling merchandise. And he got angry about that. Even Jesus did, all right? Well, my grandma, she went in there. She was so angry, she took a pool stick and she started knocking the chips, the poker chips, and everything off the tables, and she threw a fit. And my grandfather, back then, I guess, you know, you could do it. I mean, I had her committed to an insane asylum for a while, where she had to have shock therapy. I got the paper. She gave me, actually, the court paperwork. You know, I mean, I had it. And I probably still have it somewhere. But she told me that she didn't get out of there until something, I can't remember what. But she said she had to help, in order for her to get out of there, she had to help, you know, like, help them. Like, she had to be like a good patient or something. She told me that she had to pull people out from under the bed to have their shock therapy. She said they put a wood dowel in your mouth, okay, when they could put the helmet on your head and shock you with a shock, the voltage to your head is supposed to, like, you know, cure you, okay? She said it would blow. Their shots were so hard that it would blow something. I don't know. Maybe it was the wooden dowel out of their mouth or something. It'd blow it out of their mouth. But you're supposed to put the wood dowel in your between your teeth so your jaw doesn't, you know, break your teeth from the voltage. It's hard to believe. It's kind of like in today's consideration, it would be pretty barbaric. They don't use shock therapy like that no more. Well, they say that it, like, you know, re-triggers your mind, you know. They use it for some people for depression. Different things. Kind of resets your brain or something, I guess. Well, my grandpa did that. He sent her to the insane asylum, and then conventional treatment in the day was that. And then she got out, you know, and she was free again. And my grandma, for some reason, she talked a lot. Like when we would sit there, you know, me, my grandma, my grandfather, my grandma, and maybe my aunt, and maybe my cousins were there or something. And then, you know, people would be talking, and all of a sudden my grandma started saying something, and she'd keep talking and talking and talking, And she wouldn't even let nobody talk. She'd talk for like 15 or 20 minutes, man, straight. And I know my dad would get really angry about that because I've seen him. And I spent time with my grandma, and so did my kids, because we went to my grandma's house in Indiana for a while, lived there for a while, and so they know about my grandma. And she smoked a lot. And I'd have to sit there and talk to her, because what else could I do? And she'd give me cigarettes, and I'd smoke with her. She told me that the cigarette brand named Kent, she told me that a doctor told her that was the best cigarette. She said that was a doctor's cigarette. Well, look, it's just like any other cigarette. If you keep smoking them and smoking them, it's not good for you. I don't care what anybody says. It's not. It's better to do without them, just like anything else. If you don't do it, you won't miss it. And if you do it, then when you come into a certain situation in life, you might want to go back to it or something, because you found it like as a comfort, like a baby's pacifier, like a transitional object to help you through something. But if you never did that, you wouldn't actually. It wouldn't be any kind of like a pacifier or a transitional object for you, because you never depended upon it in the past. But look, I just was gonna say I wanted to document this. Look, because look, this is my. Look. Oh, this one right here, look. That one right there. Dying Pain. That was this month. That was about sport. Dying Pain. I don't know why they removed, YouTube removed that. They said terms and policies. Terms and policies. Other ones I got on here, that I did, like look, these two here with the with the triangles. That's just copyright. Like maybe that's why I'm a little bit sensitive now about, like if I put a song on there or something, they ban it, it flagged me or something. But to remove it, like I don't even know why this one was even removed. Dying Pain. I don't even actually know which one that was or anything. I don't know what it's like. I think it's like I did a lot. Look, I did a lot of videos. Look. Look at all them videos I did already. All that, I actually made a pretty big journal. I already made a big journal about this segment of my life. Look. And then, hey, look, this is my son Bryson. I did those a long time ago. Look. That's Bryson. And this is, other stuff when I had a pool in the backyard, I got some stuff about my dogs in there. And I don't know what that one was. Dog Beach play. Upload failed. Whatever. Okay. Hey, look. And my dogs. Look, that one there is about my MG. That's Joe. And then I even put stuff on there, actually. This is my son Isaac right there at his house with his mom playing the drums. And Charlie, Monkey, and Rogue. Look, right there. Charlie, Monkey, and Rogue. Because Rogue and Charlie made a lot of puppies. And then Charlie and Goldie made puppies. And then Rosie and Monkey made puppies. So I had a lot of puppies. But the thing is, you know, there's nothing that I ever say that I believe should be like removed. And YouTube removed Dying Pain. There's probably something significant about sport. I don't know why they removed it. And I got a note, you know, like somebody wanting to hire me for a content observer. And maybe that's what that is. Maybe this content observer is like watching YouTube videos or something. I don't know. And giving a report. Maybe somebody didn't like what I said. And that's the thing, you know. But I'm just saying, you know what? I don't really care anymore. Okay, look. And this here, because look, this here, okay, look. Okay, this is Pritzker. Yeah, Pritzker. To Trump, Illinois is not a place you can conquer, period. Okay? And, look, I'm just going to show you what else is on at this point in time. Okay? Look. So again, once again, no kings triggers Trump, and that's him dumping crap on America. I don't know what ingress is. Never heard of that before. And then it's Kamala Harris over there. Kamala Harris is done being polite. It's effed up. Okay? Look. Missing 411, the UFO connection. House arrest. Mike Johnson locks out Arizona. Destruction on a periodic basis. HAB theory. I don't know what that is. Look. Well, okay, I'll just go one more row. Okay, Illinois Governor Pritzker responds. I think this might be the one I'm watching. No, it's not. It's 3 weeks ago. Then they got something about Woodstock. Then they got something about MSNBC highlights October 20th. 5 hours ago. Okay, that all comes from my algorithm. Like, I don't know why they put that stuff up there. Maybe they think that that's what I'm interested in watching or something like that. You know? Look, the next one down, they got Clint Eastwood, Pale Rider. I don't know why they put that up there. That's something I could watch. It's like a free movie with commercials. But I already watched Pale Rider. I know what it is. Pale Rider. He's got a horse. It's a white horse. You know, but I already seen that advertised before and I watched it. It was a good movie. And so this is the thing, look. Look, you know, there's a lot of people trying to want to bend reality, you know, to their liking. And people see what they want to see. And in this era, right now, it's less than an era. It's like in this Trumpian term, okay, like his presidency, like he's doing some really outrageous things. Like have a big impact. I mean, big impact. I can't go into all that. Look, one of the things I didn't see it on here that I'm going to watch is from Alan Watts, who I listened to on a cassette tape a long time ago that I checked out from my library that I went to graduate school at, Union Seminary in Richmond, Virginia, and Theological Presbyterian Seminary in Richmond, Virginia. And I checked out their library, Alan Watts. I don't remember why it was on cassette. and I listened to it. And at that time, I had a cassette duplicator, and I probably copied it. But a lot of stuff of mine has been ruined. Doubt that I have it anymore. But, so I appreciated Alan Watts. Well, okay, they got some stuff from Alan Watts on there. Like, I don't know if he's still alive or this is old. But he said that the voice in your head is not yours. And sometimes when I'm doing my talks, you know, like I think, I think a little bit about before what I'm gonna say. Like sometimes when I'm talking, you know, I do hear like a voice in my head, you know, and then I say it, and sometimes I don't, and sometimes I do use a different word of what I hear the voice in my head, you know, because I make a real quick, you know, thought, you know, a deduction, you know, a rationalization, you know, a critique. And then, you know, I do that really, really quick, you know, and before I say what I'm actually going to say. But, you know, I mean, it does pop up. Things pop up in my mind. And then I choose, you know, what I'm going to say out of the whole bunch of stuff that pops up, you know. And I know that that's what you're like, too. And that's why consciousness, to me, has actually been a topic of my study, like what I'm talking right now, okay? I'm talking about consciousness. It's almost as if, for I feel the way that it is, it's almost as if, you know, I'm given, you know, words to say that might be able to inspire you, my grandchildren, you know? And that's why I'm showing, you know, like everything, you know, that is on my phone. Like, look, you know, all that stuff, you know? And actually, I realized that I did a lot. Look, it'll come up. Well, see, now it's all grayed out. Okay, there it goes. So I guess, you know, what it is, just finished. And these are the things on here mean that I haven't been flagged yet. Because I did, like, you know, put something on there that I've seen on what I've been learning. And I put stuff on there that I'm learning. It was, you know, what's helping me, you know. And it kind of disturbs me about Dying Pain that they removed it. I really don't know what I said that would make it be removed. But, and it's not like I got that stuff like named, like actually. I make the video on my phone before I upload it, you know. And then, but I don't like rename my video. It's on my phone. I just, you know, upload it. And probably after I die, you know, I'm not paying Google like, you know, $2 a month anymore, or $2.99 a month anymore, whatever it is, you know. And I don't even look at my Google email anymore, but I know it's all linked, you know. I know stuff is linked together. It shows me like on my TV, like my Google email or something. And now I don't even use my Google email. I use my iCloud. But it is what it is. And that was the name of one of my videos, but this one here, I just wanted to say that I really don't know what it is I wanted to say. Other than, you know, it's disturbing. Sometimes life is disturbing. And your life can be snuffed out and nobody would care. That's the way I feel about myself, you know. Like, a lot of times I feel like I ain't gonna make no more public journal notes entries, you know, for my grandchildren, because I've already said what's important, and you're gonna live your own life and do your own thing. But what is really real is that it's not just my simulation or your simulation, it's God's simulation. Like, there's something bigger than me and you. And everything that we have done in our lives in this earth, you know, like, I got my genealogy. And a little bit of notes about, you know, people in my tree line, in my family tree, and people who lived before me. Yeah, and a little bit of notes about how they lived. There was a person in my family, you know, in in my family, Robin's lineage, you know, and she took and did a lot of investigation. I took video footage of her talking, you know. Look, again, it's really sad to me, but it's all been kind of lost. It'd be a miracle if I actually found it. I don't know what happened to everything. But the thing is, everything's going to be disintegrating. But they say information is never lost. Okay? And with this new developments about consciousness, and I believe now that consciousness precedes form or physical anatomy, you know, because I've already proven it. That precedes form, okay? Out-of-body experiences and stuff like that for a fact. Proven fact, okay? People with their brain dead. Like, their brain is not flashing and their heart is not pumping. And then they get their heart pumping again and their brain starts flashing again. But when their brain is completely dead, their eyes taped shut, all right? They have proven documentation that people get the consciousness back into their head and they were aware because their consciousness was out there even though their body was dead. And they came back. And they were told to come back. Imagine that. It's not just like, you know, like boiling water and, you know, all of a sudden, you know, I don't know, whatever, the water goes out and overflows the pot and then you turn off the flame and then it subsides. I mean, that's natural. Well, it's not all. It's just like, okay, well, there's somebody turning the oven off and on. Another force. It's kind of a little bit disturbing, you know, that, like, you know, some of my stuff here has to be deleted, removed, because it wasn't up to standards or whatever. I don't know, and that's why I try to be careful. So I don't know what I'm gonna call this one. You know, a little bit like just what you call venting, V-E-N-T-I-N-G, venting the flame. That's what I'll call this one. I'm venting the flame. I love you. Bye.